So, continuing on with the edits. Last I talked to you guys, I was finishing up chapter 14, 15-ish, somewhere around there. It is now a couple weeks later. Today is August 19th, and I've made it to chapter 21. Not as far as I would have liked to make it, but I'm not going to lie, it's mostly been a combination of being busy with everyday life, work, family stuff, kids, being tired. Yeah, welcome to adulthood, I know. But I got a little quiet time right now. So I figured gonna go ahead and see if I can get done before I gotta start dinner. And we'll see from there. I will say that story is, oh my gosh, it's hard to get into editing mode when you love a story as much as this. Like, wait, I have to go back and edit that? No, it's good. It really sucks, I've said it before, but it's what you got to do when you're an author. Regardless, I got to continue on. I got to get this done pretty quickly. Well, not quickly, but pretty soon. Because next month, I'm going to be collaborating with my book cover artist. So we can go ahead and get the book cover done for Valkyrie. I haven't necessarily decided when I'm going to release this book yet, because I'm still working on edits, of course. After I get these edits done, I got to add them in, see how the story sounds, and then go from there. Book covers, probably an easy part of it. And I'm thinking I'm going to be releasing this book sometime next year, 2026. Not exactly sure when. Probably going to be early, not too early. I'm thinking maybe February or March. We'll see where I'm at. So that'll give me plenty of time to go over draft 2, see if there needs to be a draft 3 written, go from there. But yeah, feeling pretty good about it. And I'm really loving how it's sounding so far. Not too much needs to be changed, but then again, I'm only around halfway through, so we'll see how the other half. And also there are some tough chapters coming up because there is a lot of content in here that are hard to take. So yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but in case I have, you've heard it, but in case you haven't, Valkyrie does deal with a lot of situations regarding abuse and abuse towards women. And I touch on that. I touch on that quite extensively. I don't depict any of it because no, thank you. That's not my forte, but I do touch on it. And I do show the trauma and the emotions these women went through as a result of what they went through. And the chapter I'm kind of dreading is where there is a significant loss. When I wrote it, I cried like a baby, and I know when I get to it, I'm probably going to cry like a baby again. But it's hard to convey what I want to say at this point, but I just know that this book is my baby. I dare say it might be the best story I've written so far. But that's just me. But I'm going to get back to it, and I'll check back with you guys soon. All right. Part 2. Officially done. And that's a lot of notes. But that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That means that there's a lot of improvements to be made. And that's never a bad thing to improve, no matter what anyone says. So, I'm going to dive into part 2. And I divided the book into 2 parts, I believe. I don't remember if I added a 3rd part. I'm pretty sure I didn't. We'll find out as soon as I dive back in. But from what I read in part 1 so far, there's a lot of obstacles to be faced between the 2 main characters, Oliver and Lainey, because they were at one time lovers and were separated, and now they found each other again. But one of them's like, yeah, you think you're going to be allowed back in? I don't think so. And the other was like, well, I had a good reason. And it's not really a good reason, of course. There's also the dynamic of the bikers, which are all women. And we see a glimpse as to what they went through. And it's the aspect of the story that I love the most, seeing what these women went through and how they rose up. And I know I'm repeating myself, being pretty redundant, but I can't help myself. That's what I truly love about this story, you know. I guess get a little personal here. I did not have the greatest childhood. My female characters had to deal with abusive husbands. Well, I'm lucky enough that I have the greatest husband in the world and I've never had to deal with abuse from him. But I did have to grow up in an abusive family dynamic. And not to give you my whole life story, it was pretty traumatizing. I still have PTSD from it. So I've been grabbing a lot of that, and it's coming up in the story. And I thought it would be hard to write about it. In some aspects it is, but it's what I'm finding that I love the most about it. So when you guys read it, I hope you enjoy it too, and that you can relate to it if you've ever been in that situation. And if you haven't, I hope you never have to go through it either. Just saying. All right, so we're going to dive into part 2, chapter 24. I want to say there are 40 chapters. Let me just double check. Okay, so I forgot, or I wasn't paying attention. There's actually 50 chapters plus an epilogue. So I'm not halfway through the book. I'm almost halfway through the book. It's still not bad. Still not bad. And I'm looking forward to it. These past few chapters that I've gone through, it has sucked me in. I don't want to stop writing. I want to keep going and going and going. And just, oh, wow, I wrote these words. I put these words to paper. I put these words on the screen. They came from my fingers and my mind. What the fuck? I imagine as many writers have felt the same when they read their story back to themselves. Like, I wrote this. This came from my imagination. This came from my lips. I didn't know I was capable. It's always that jaw-dropping aha moment when you read your stuff. And you just pray to God that there's someone out there that feels the same way. Even if it's just one reader, it's an amazing experience, amazing accomplishment. So I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to get back to writing. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.